If the film Pretty Woman happened in real life, brutal, warts and all, and without the Hollywood whitewashing, that's our film Anora. Be warned, although this review or deep dive is rated PG and appropriate for everyone, the film Anora is a very explicit and adult film in every sense of the word adult. So if you're triggered or uncomfortable by that sort of thing, now you know. So a very quick non-spoiler plot synopsis so you can enjoy the film. Anora, known as Annie, played by Mikey Madison, is a stripper in New York. She's in a rut in her life, and then along comes Vanya, the rich son of an oligarch who pays for her dances, which then develops into paying her as a full services escort to party with him, which then becomes him paying Annie to be his girlfriend for a week. They form a bond from their intense time together, even if it's based on a transactional money bond, to the point he tries to convince her to marry him. Surprisingly, she agrees, and they do. This is when all hell breaks loose. As news spreads on social media and the oligarch parents abroad find out what he's done, the oligarch parents then mobilize their substantial resources to move heaven and earth to destroy the abomination that is their son being married to that sort of girl. And that is a plot synopsis. This film does not condone or glamorize Annie's day job as a stripper and escort. It's just her life at the moment. In fact, I don't even think we're rooting for her to stay married and beat the oligarchs. It feels like we're watching someone who's not a bad person make some very bad decisions in a dramatized documentary recapping of what happened. We want the best for Anora, especially during the last third of the film, but we don't want whatever this thing is happening, because this thing doesn't help at all. For all those people burnt out by Marvel movies, DC movies, horror movies, sci-fi movies, and you wanted a dramatic piece of cinema, this is the antidote. Here it is. This is a stunning, naturalistic, dramatic film. The casting is perfect. I believe everyone. An excellent job by director Sean Baker. Annie, played by Mikey Madison, is incredible. I especially like the henchmen, which I think everybody will like when they see the film. They're realistic henchmen, not the cartoony James Bond crime movies stereotypes. Henchmen with limits. They may come from another country where basically they make the rules, but in America they can only bend them so far, and there are consequences to doing what they're doing. The film Anora fits into the theme of 2024, which is women losing control of their destiny, women losing their power of self-determination, the disgusting "my body, his choice" trope all over the internet. We have had Blink Twice, a film which is about drugging and systemic abuse of the rich preying on women. The Substance, where the male gaze is so dominant in entertainment that Demi Moore's character has no self-determination as to morph herself and genetically butcher herself to conform to it or not exist. Now we have the film Anora, where our Annie, for all her cocky confidence and self-assurance, is blown here and there by wealthier, more powerful forces than her, who can literally dictate her life. This is an existential bleed from what's happening in real life. There are laws being enacted now that are basically putting women back in the box, are being designed to control women's bodies and basically remove their self-determination. And this is happening in some of the most liberal countries on the planet. So seems to be bleeding into the creative world. What this means in the future, I don't know, but it feels very dark. The other big theme that's also missing from movies like Blink Twice, Anora, and even The Substance, all big female-led movies, is love. Love is missing. So all of them, there seems to be a transactional nature to life and relationships. The problem with that, especially in Anora, is that if you regard yourself as a product to be bought and sold, the problem is, at some point, the other person can buy a better product and then you can be discarded. and your value decreases, as we find out in the last third of the movie. I mean, in The Substance, Demi Moore's character is approached by a man who appreciates her for who she is. This man knows her before she became famous and totally accepts her as she is. And she rejects him. She ghosts him to pursue the dominant male gaze of the entertainment world, and she genetically butchers herself to conform to it. The encounter with love, or the potential of love, basically breaks her, and she spirals in what will be one of the most famous scenes for anybody who's seen The Substance. In Blink Twice, the female pursuit of the villain Slater King is because he's a billionaire. That's it. There's no hint that there's a love relationship, affection, the main pursuit being the pursuit of high value males. And then in Anora, when she encounters love or something that's akin to affection, she can't handle it either. And these are dark times. And this is an existential threat to society at the moment, because less and less people are having traditional long-term relationships, or any relationships at all. They're not having families, and this may be due to the economic situation, but it's being reflected in film and creative work. So yeah, Anora is a rejection of the Cinderella trope. Maybe it's not all about being picked by the prince. Maybe the prince isn't worth it. Maybe there's a price to being taken by the prince. And I'm glad there's a movie that de-glamorizes what happens in Pretty Woman, which is a strange film, which is sort of a sister film to this film. In Pretty Woman, Richard Gere basically hires a prostitute. And it's bizarre because Richard Gere looks like a movie star. He's not going to need any help. And Julia Roberts in it looks like a model and a movie star. I mean, it's ridiculous. This film is the opposite of that. It's brutal. It shows you the warts and all of what that sort of transactional life is. And it's not pretty. I keep using the word naturalistic, and that's what it is. The actual plot is insane. Oligarchs, henchmen, strippers, all of that sounds very fantastical, but the way Sean Baker has directed this, it feels very natural, and you could see this scenario actually happen. A rich brat like Vanya, who's never had to grow up, has had everything given to him, using people like toys, is probably happening right now. So I hope you go and see this film. Again, be aware it's very, very explicit. I hope you like it, because I think it's a fantastic film. We have a breakout star, Mikey Madison. She will go places, hopefully. And director Sean Baker. We await his next movie.